Towards the game, comic book collector and festival. Some big books sold this week. Welcome to top 10 highest CGC comic books sold on eBay, February 15 and 24th. Coming number 10, we have Strange Tale issue 169, grade CGC 9.8, white pages. This is the first appearance and origin of Brother Voodoo. This one came in 1973 by Marvel Comics. The asking price was $6,850, but it's actually sold for $6,600. So let's go over the Heritage. For Heritage, we have a 9.8 right here, and this book sold as high $21,600. So that's a decrease of $15,000. This is back in May of 2021. Let's swing one over. We have one sold for $20,400 back in January 2022. And then let's do one more. We have one sold for $14,400 back in January 2023. Coming number 9, Fantastic Four issue 1. This one came in 1961, grade CZ 4.5, off white pages. First appearance of the team right here. The buy now price was $7,700, and it was snatched up by somebody. There was a new listing, and someone snatched it up really quick. So this is an awesome price, though. You get it for $7,700. 100% positive feedback and 849 feedback totals. So I'm not quite sure why it was sold for this low, but let's go over to Heritage. We have 4.5 right here, and this book sold for $36,000. So that's a decrease of $28,300. This is back in January 2022. And then let's swing one here. We have one sold for $24,000 back in June of 2021. And then let's do one more right here. And then we have one sold for $21,600 back in September 2022. Coming number 8, we have DC Comics, Superman issue 2. This one came in 1939, grade CGC 6.0. However, this is a restored copy, though. You can see there's a purple label right there. Asking and sold price was a little less than $10,000. So let's go over to Go Collect. Go Collect, we have a restored copy right here. So, 6.0 right here. Unfortunately, not too many data. So last one that we had was $5,040. So that's an increase of $4,959, and this was back in July 2020. And then we have one sold for a little less than $4,000 back in April 2019. And then one we have was 2006 for $1,553.50. Coming number 7, we have Incredible Hulk issue 1, grade CC 3.5, fourth appearance of Hulk. The asking price was $15,975, but that's sold for $12,600. So let's go over to Heritage. Heritage, we have 3.5 right here, and then this one sold as high as $24,000. So that's a decrease of $11,400. This is back in August 2022, and then we have one right here. And that one sold for $24,000 back in June of 2022 also. And then we have one sold for $21,400 back in June 2021. Coming number 6, Fantastic Four issue 5, grade CZ 6.0, off-white to white pages. This one came in 1962 by Marvel Comics. Asking sold price was $12,999. So let's go over to Go Collect. Okay, Go Collect right here. We have a 6.0 right here. And then this book sold as high as $28,800. So that's a drop of $15,801. And according to Go Collect, fair market value $11,500. And the high, this was the one that was just sold on eBay. And then the low, $8,400. That's a good deal right here. Average $10,979. Okay, so let's go over here. Right there you go. I found the one that was sold for 8,400 back in July 2025, and then this one for sold in January 2026 for $12,247, and the one for $9,000 December 2025. Come number 5, Tales of Suspense issue 39, Great CZ 5.5, fourth appearance on Iron Man. Huge Silver Age book, and according to the seller, this book never been pressed. The asking price actually the asking price was $13,978, but it's actually sold for $13,500. So let's go over the Heritage. Over there, we have a 5.5 right here, and this one sold for as high as $22,800. So that is a drop of $9,300. And then let's go right here, and then we have one sold for $16,260. This was back in August 2022. And then we have one sold for $15,000 back in October 2022. Coming number 4, Fantastic Four issue 5, Great CZ 7.0, fourth appear on Doctor Doom. This one came in 1962, off-white white pages. The asking price was $16,000, but it's actually sold for $14,500. So let's go over to Heritage. For Heritage, we have a 7.0 right here, and then this book sold as high $37,200. So that's a drop of $22,700. This is back in January 2022, and then let's swing right here. We won sold for $36,000 back in June of 2022, and then we have one more right here, and one more sold $33,600 back in November 2021. Coming number 3, Star Wars issue 1. This one came out in 1977. Great CGC, and also a 9.8 and signature series. There are 6 signatures on this book, and the sold price was $17,022. So let me go over to Heritage, and then we do have 9.8, and this one does have signatures, 6 signatures. I'm sorry, but does one of them are different though, so we can't really compare too much. And this one sold for $20,400 back in September 2022. And then we do have another signature right here, but this is just the Stanley right here, I believe, and sold for $6,000 back in February 2022. Coming number 2, Amazing Fantasy 15, Great CC 3.5, fourth appearance of Spider-Man. This one came in 1962 by Marvel Comics. The asking price was $31,000, but it's actually sold for $29,000. So let's go over to Heritage. For Heritage, we have a 3.5 right here. This book sold as high as $40,800, so that's a drop of $11,800. This was back in November 2021, and then we have one sold for $40,800 also back in May of 2022, and then let's see one more right here. Another one for $40,800 back in May 2022 also. Coming number 1 for this week, Amazing Fantasy 15, CZ 4.5, first appearance Spider-Man, off-white pages, no chipping. The asking price was $48,000, but it's actually sold for $40,000. So let's go over to Heritage. Over Heritage, we have 4.5 right here, and then this book sold as high as $84,000, so that's a drop of $44,000. This is back in November 2021. And then we have one sold for $78,000 back in November 2021. And then we have the 4.5 right here. And this one sold for $78,000 back in December 2021. You know what? Let's do one more. And then we have one sold for $72,000 back in May 2022. All right, so a lot of big books sold this week. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the content. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.